What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to Breaking Bet here on April 30th, the last day of April, previewing that Week 12 Friday slate. We're starting to get to a conclusion here of this regular season, the month of May. That's a big time because now we're finally realizing who's going to be the cream of the crop and who's pretending and is going to ultimately fade down the stretch. And for a lot of these tight conference races, they're starting to come to a head and a conclusion. So Breaking Bet tonight, we're previewing this Friday slate with a lot of pivotal action coming in. Appreciate the comment there. So really for the ACC, I don't know if a lot of you have seen it, but because they started a week earlier than a lot of the other conferences, they're playing a lot of these out-of-conference weekend matchups. So we're not really going to get much help here. There's matchups like Stanford, Notre Dame, Boston College, and Clemson. Like maybe we could touch on that later in the show, but not really doing much in the way of headlining it. So we'll keep it short and we'll stick to the bigger series here. We'll kick it off with a trifecta of the Big 12 matchups. Arizona State, UCF, coin flip, obviously. Listen, this is a big one here because the way it stands right now in the Big 12, like Kansas has really created a lot of separation. They have a 3-game lead right now. We talked a lot about Kansas in the preseason, 11-1 to win it in the regular season. And, they started out rough, but then they got hot and they're starting to get a lot of contributions. And assuming Kansas doesn't shit the bed, like they have a really good chance to hold on here and win the Big 12 regular season. But right behind them, tied, Arizona State, UCF. So this series, the losers is all but done, has almost zero chance of winning. Now, Arizona State, I haven't seen an official announcement, but I'd imagine it's going to be Cole Carlin going in this one. Cole Carlin has made a big jump this year. The stuff is electric, and obviously with Arizona State's Landon Harrison having a breakout year, Harry Bonds, they're calling him. This is a dude that looks like he's about to eclipse 30 home runs any day now. And they're going to UCF, man. And UCF was red hot, and they've had a couple bad weekends, but they've started to pick it up here. They're on a 5-game win streak, and it looks like Mateo Gray went last week, is slated to go, at least from what I've seen, for this matchup here. UCF's been a really tough team for me to bet on because they're a little bit Jekyll and Hyde, but that's how Arizona State was for me last year, and they've kind of lived up to that. But I just think with the definitive pitching advantage, if it's Carlin going, even on the road, even in a tough travel spot, I feel like Arizona State's just got like that one more piece. They got the advantage on the starting bump, and they have one of the hottest hitters in the country in Landon Harrison. And, if you followed UCF at all, I love Andrew Williamson. I think he's one of the most underrated stars in the college game. Like this is a dude. But I just think in terms of the firepower, Arizona State's got a little bit more. Nothing in a parlay piece, but straight up play, I think ASU's worth a sprinkle. Probably not a full unit, maybe something along the lines of a half unit. Up in the air if I'm going to make that one an official play. Let's get to a little bit bigger of a line. West Virginia, K-State. Doesn't matter what it is, but West Virginia, even if they don't have as high of expectations they had the year before, they always find themselves in that mix. They're always a team to be reckoned with in the Big 12. And, I was disappointed because I felt like last week it was a perfect opportunity for them to stay within that 3.5-game striking distance of Kansas in that top spot in the Big 12. But they found a way to lose the series at Cincinnati. Like they take game one. It was extras bleeded into Saturday from the Friday start. They end up winning that one. And they lose 2 close games where they very realistically could have at least won one of them. Max Yell was out of the rotation last week. This has been probably their best pitcher. He did not pitch last weekend, but not only is he in for this weekend series, he's starting this game. So at home in a rebound series, you got Max Yell, who's got a mid-2 ERA. Kids looked unbelievable. Not sure if there's an innings or pitch count restriction on him, but I like him because Kansas State is not throwing somebody competitive, somebody with a small sample size and a 6 ERA. Now, obviously, that's not really much to go off of, but what we do know is Maxiell has absolutely been that guy this year. 2.41 ERA, 62 Ks, 15 walks, and 52 and a third. And with West Virginia really in that home stretch here, that final mold, an opportunity for them to have some sort of chance to win the conference and secure themselves a good seed for June. This is a must-have series. Like, they got to have this one. Take the series, you get to 15 wins. If you sweep, you get to 16 wins. And now you're realistically looking at a 20-plus win regular season in the Big 12 campaign. Give me West Virginia. I'm laying the juice on this one at minus 166. Probably going to make that one official. And then the last big one in the Big 12 is going to be TCU at OK State. Damn near pick 'em. But the reason why I like this, TLP is back for TCU. Tommy Lepore back on the bump after missing the last couple of months. Now, for Tommy Lepore, that's huge for TCU. Obviously, this is a team that had big aspirations coming into the year. But even without him, like, they found a way to stay competitive, stay in the mix. They're 13-8. They're just outside of the top four. They're actually tied with West Virginia. But right behind them is OK State at 11-10. And pretty much they're all but cooked to win this conference regular season-wise. But this is still a pretty formidable opponent, especially at home. It projects to be TCU with Lepore against OK State and Ethan Lund. Lund's actually struggled a bit recently. He's got big, gaudy K numbers, 90 Ks through 54 and a third, but a ton of walks at 36. He's pretty much had four and a half straight underwhelming outings. This kid's given up a lot of runs. A lot of it has to do with the walks. The one question is, like, what does that Tommy Lepore leash look like? Is this guy going out there and he's going to go 2 innings, 30, 35 pitches, like something we saw Cam Flukie have last Sunday? I'd probably imagine that Kirk Saarloos is going to keep him on a short leash because they have much bigger goals than just to win this Friday game here. But I think I'm still rolling with TCU on the road. I like Ethan Lund. I think he's really good, and he's got great stuff. We saw that opening weekend, but I just feel like I'd probably rather have TCU with the juice that they have over OK State in this matchup. But this is going to shape out to be a great series. Next up, we got Ole Miss at Arkansas. We're sleeping on Ole Miss a little bit. I'm not saying they're College World Series winner good, but this is a team that if you snooze on, they're going to come up and surprise you. Hunter Elliott, as usual, expects to take the bump here. He's had a lot of good outings. The overall stats don't show up, but it's a 4.82 ERA. Like, this is a guy that can absolutely take over a game. It's a huge for a Friday start against Hunter Dietz, really tall lefty with great stuff. 3.62 ERA. It's obviously been an up and down year for Arkansas, like some good, some bad, some ugly. And both teams are really kind of in that mix right now, and they both need it. But I just feel like Ole Miss is more consistently complete. Like, they get consistently better pitching and hitting. Their offense has a lot of boppers and have had huge years, like Tristan Becerra came over from Clemson. I mean, this kid is staring down the barrel at a 25 homer season. Like, that's an incredible jump in his transfer year. So I think Ole Miss at a coin flip price, even on the road. For me, it's advantage Hunter Elliott over Hunter Dietz. Next up is probably the biggest game of the weekend, in my opinion. Mississippi State at Texas. I mean, if you have nothing else to do tomorrow night, this is the matchup you need to be tuning in on. Thomas Valancius assumed the Friday role. He's had an unbelievable year after transferring over from Virginia with head coach Brian O'Connor. He's having a masterclass of a season. He's 7-1 with a 2.13 ERA. Dude is absolutely dealing. Mississippi State has cooled off, though. I mean, they have cooled off the last 3 weeks or so, and they're trying to get it back and really go from that hot, cold, hot, where that's seemingly the trend of a lot of these College World Series teams that have won it in the past, is where they start out hot, mid-season, they hit that lull, and then they heat up the last few weeks of the regular season, and that vaults them into the postseason and propels them. I think Mississippi State, and I had them preseason as one of my Omaha 8 teams. I absolutely think, especially if McPherson could come back and he's even remotely close to his capability, like this is a team that can win it all. This is a team that absolutely projects to make the field of 8. But the truth is, like, they're my team. Texas is my biggest position of the year. I really loved the Horns coming in. And, to be honest, I felt like 2027 was probably going to be their year. But, I couldn't afford to miss the chance that, hey, maybe I was a year late instead of a year early. So I had to get in on Texas. Their talent is unbelievable. And look, I think with Texas long-term, it really relies on now Ruger Riojas is becoming the X factor. Like, he's had some bad starts the last month. If that's the Ruger Riojas that shows up in June, Texas is going to be a quick exit. They're not even going to make Omaha. But if he's the guy that we saw the first 5-6 weeks, then this is the team that's going to win it all. But in any case, it's Dylan Volantis, who closer last year, converts to the Sunday role, and well said, hey, this should be the Friday guy. And then, the change of events happened with the suspended series, the third game at A&M, and then Volantis moves to the Friday spot, and he's just been dealing the last 2 starts. And rightfully so, he should have been the Friday guy. But I like the transition here. This kid's unbelievable. I mean, if it wasn't for Dax Whitney, we might be talking about the best arm in the country off the board next summer. Of course, you got Chris Lavonis and Aiden King in that conversation as well. But Volantis, man, he's been incredible. He's 6-0 with a 206. He's been money since transitioning to that Friday role. On the road against Vanderbilt last week was phenomenal. And for as hot and cold as Vandy is, they're one of the top home run hitting teams in the country. But I think in this particular case, the reason why I like Texas, I just think they're offensively more consistent. The breakout year Aiden Robbins is having, coming over from Seton Hall, where he had 6 home runs last year. And now this is a guy that, with a hot finish, and if Texas goes far enough, is probably going to have 30 home runs. And it's not just the power. This guy's trending, potentially hitting 360, 370 this year with the way he's going. So I really like what Texas has to offer behind Aiden Robbins, and Carson Tinney's heated up. Ethan Mendoza, Adrian Rodriguez, Timo Becerra, Anthony Pack's been unbelievable, especially as a freshman. There's so many weapons here with Texas. And now with the emergence of Sam Cozart the last month and a half in the back end of that reliever role, he was the midweek starter to start out the season. Now he's transitioning as to possibly the big high leverage arm in the back end of the bullpen. And I think this is going to be a great series. This is a huge, huge, huge swing. But for the Friday night game, as much as I love Thomas Valanciunas, at home, Dylan Volantis, I got to go Texas here at a minus 130 price. I think this is a fair number. I think I'd probably play Texas out to minus 145. You start getting a minus 154-ish, which DK does. Then it goes Mississippi State plus 120. Then we're starting to get a hairy territory. But I definitely think we're looking at a Texas home win here tomorrow night. This is going to be a great series. And, for somebody like me who gave out Texas 10-1 preseason to win the SEC regular season, riding that ticket, this is a huge moment, because if they're able to win this series, take 2 out of 3, especially with Georgia having a couple layups to finish out the year, they're still firmly in the mix. But if they lose this one, we could probably rip that ticket up, which would be a crying shame. Let's go to a team that needs a rebound here. It's about the Florida Gators. Probably the most frustrating team in all of college baseball this year. The Florida Gators hosted a really good A&M team. A&M's had a big year. They win game 1 with Aiden King, absolutely dominated a very, very talented Aggie lineup full of first-rounders. But then they can't find a way to win one of the final 2 games. The common denominator is Aiden King. Like I mentioned it before with Volantis. There's 4 arms out of the college side that you need to circle for next year's draft at the moment. The big 4, and Aiden King is one of them. Aiden King has been unbelievable this year. He's 7-2 with a 1.78. This is the guy. Now, Oklahoma is experiencing some turbulence as well because LJ Mercurius has the UNLV transfer. He's been their Friday guy for most of the year, but he's hit some struggles recently. So not only is he out of the Friday night role, he's out of the weekend rotation. He's healthy. He's able to come in relief this weekend. Like that's on the table. That's fine. They're going with Caden Leon. Like this is not a guy that's really had a lot of exposure in the weekend starts. This might be his first, if I'm not mistaken. Some unknowns there. But really, obviously, the big if is like, what is Florida going to do? Because this team picks and chooses when they want to show up. But if there is one day to bet Florida, it's when Aiden King is pitching. It's like Oklahoma, their mantra is run, run, run. Like Reggie Willetts has instilled that in his team that's going back years now. And they've got some guys in their lineup. Brock Brennan, Trey Gamble, Jason Walk, etc. But I just think can't pitch against Aiden King, man. Like this is even moved. This was, I want to say like minus 135, minus 140 a couple hours ago at the drop. And now we're sitting at minus 154. I feel like probably by tomorrow afternoon, we might be able to even see Florida at like minus 166. So I think if you're looking at betting Florida at all, this is the game to do it. Just can't bet against Aiden King the way he's going. So give me the Florida Gators here. I like them in a parlay as well. And, look, if their offense doesn't show up, they don't show up. But you're getting a solid price on a premium pitcher. Premium. Another big one, Auburn at A&M. Not very often we see Auburn at plus 130 and are scratching our heads. But Texas A&M, man, I mean, if you remember the podcast last year, you were tuning in to me and my articles on RotoWire. Like, I was a huge A&M fan. I had a ton of exposure because sort of the team that they are this year, I thought they were going to be that last year. And, maybe I was a year early. Well, I was seemingly right now at the moment a year early. Like, I thought Jace Lavalette was going to be the guy leading the charge, and Sorrell comes back healthy. And, obviously it didn't happen. Michael Early in year one just couldn't get it to click. But in year two, it looks like they've made a really good decision to stick with him because he's got these guys humming. They bring in a huge transfer, Chris Copian. He's having a big year. Caden Sorrell's healthy and looking every bit of a first rounder. Caden Sorrell, as I like to call him, IO, instant offense. Gavin Grahovac's back healthy. Like, it's huge. The Nico Partita looks like possibly the number one pick in the 2028 draft. Like, Terrence Keel could be a first rounder next year. There's a lot of talent in this lineup. And the guy that was a huge piece a few years ago, and then he got Tommy John, he's back in the Friday role, is Shane Tadeo. And I tell you the truth, Shane Tadeo, like, he's had his moments where he looked really good, but overall, collectively, I mean, this guy's pushing a 6 ERA. It's 5.72. But that being said, as good as Auburn is, I still think right now fading A&M is just, it's a tough ask for me. Their offense is so hot. They have so many weapons. The 1 through 3 could arguably be the best in the country. And we're talking against teams like Georgia Tech and UCLA and Texas. Like, this might be the best 1 through 3 part of the lineup in the country that A&M is sporting right now. And, look, they're going against Andres Alvarez, a recently promoted Friday night guy who's, I think, making his third, maybe fourth straight Friday start in a row. I mean, the Auburn, I talked about this last week with my co-host John Bowman, who's out tonight. Auburn has one of the best starting pitching staffs in the country. All 3 of their guys are in the 2s with their ERA. I mean, Jake Marciano's had a great year, but he's been pushed back to Saturday. And Alvarez has been great. He got a 2.22 ERA. But this A&M offense is really good. It's really dangerous. Now, I think Auburn's definitely got a good chance to win the series. But, I mean, just it's hard for me to bet against A&M. I mean, I probably would be looking to bet Auburn game 3, chances are Weston Moss is going to go. And, Weston Moss is a talented arm. Alex Petrovich is the guy that's been filling the Sunday spot for Auburn. And plus 130 is a nice price. And Sadeo has been struggling. Like, you might be saying, John, what are you talking about? Like, this might be the game where Auburn gets one. And that's absolutely true. And I hate laying minus 166, but I just feel like A&M is a really good play here this weekend. And I think just something about this Friday spot where I feel like as good as Alvarez has been, this lineup is one of the elite tiers that he'll see all year. So I think I'm going to roll with A&M in this one, but this is going to be one of the best series of the weekend as well. Last one on the highlighted docket, Tennessee at Kentucky. Tennessee was a team I'm not surprised on that they were struggling coming into the year. I know myself, John, and a few other college baseball minds that I respect, the common census, the common denominator was Tennessee was probably the most popular team that was picked to struggle. And for me personally, struggling didn't mean, hey, they wouldn't make a regional, they wouldn't make a super regional. Like, that's not necessarily what it meant. But I didn't think they were a true Omaha caliber team, like to win the College World Series. I just didn't feel like they had that much talent in order to make that leap. I felt like the coaching change was going to be a big difference. And we've seen a lot of push-pull on Tennessee. Like, it's been ugly at times. But, they've been tweaking the starting rotation. And this weekend they're going back. Like, Tegan Coons has gotten himself back to what he was to start the year. He's back in the Friday night role. They moved Landon Mack from Friday to Sunday, Evan Blanco from Sunday to Saturday. Now they're at Kentucky, a team that I thought was actually going to be a dark horse this year. Jackson Jelkin had been doing great. Like, he's had a bad couple starts the last 3 weeks. He got destroyed last week. I feel like ultimately, as good as Jackson Jelkin had been, some sort of struggles have really just been crushing him. Like, he got lit up against South Carolina last week. I think he gave up 5 runs in the first inning before he even got an out. So Ben Cleaver is pitching this Friday role. He's been okay. I mean, 4.6 ERA, but I like what Tegan Coons has been doing. And I think Tennessee with their talent advantage is enough to get this one done. This is also a big series for Tennessee. We're like, hey, we start out the month of May right by winning the series. Then we got a couple more weeks here to really make our case and get ourselves a good seed for the committee to look favorably upon us. Like, I think this is a big one. And it's a fair price. Minus 145 with a clear pitching advantage. And you have a lot of talent in this Tennessee offense, and not all of it's been realized yet, but I think they have the advantage in this one. So I am going with the Tennessee Volunteers. There's not that many great matchups this weekend in terms of betting. Everything else is kind of forced. I mean, you could get Boston College. That's a coin flip at Clemson. Aiden Kanak has been demoted. He's in the Sunday role. Dane Mulder was a talented freshman who missed all of last year. He's in the Friday role. That's a small sample size on him, but he's extremely talented. But AJ Colarusso has been going for BC this year. He's been amazing. Like, Boston College is right at the top of the board under UNC and Georgia Tech, atop the ACC. So just kind of knowing what's been working, I would probably go with Boston College. Like, it's not official, but if you're leaning on betting that game, just what's been working for BC, I would continue to stay with that, especially at a favorable number. See if anything else is of note. I mean, honestly, LSU, South Carolina at the box. LSU's minus 298. I think it's William Schmidt pitching against Amp Phillips of South Carolina. They're plus 220. I got news for you. I think if you're going to take a big long shot this weekend, a big underdog, at least for the Friday slate, I think South Carolina is the team. South Carolina has been extremely competitive since they fired Paul Mainieri. Like they are coming out swinging on these teams. They took a game against Texas like a month ago. They put a beating on Jackson Jelkin last Friday. South Carolina is showing a lot of life, and Amp Phillips has been a pretty strong pitcher this year. And with the struggles LSU has, and we don't even know, like these guys might have mailed it in already. Like we're at a point here where LSU might not even make the tournament. Like they've been bad this year. So I think South Carolina plus 220 is definitely worth a sprinkle at the bare minimum. I think there was one more. I think Cal Poly minus 145 at UC Irvine is pretty interesting. If I'm not mistaken, it's going to be Griffin Ness for Cal Poly. Just want to confirm that. But if it is Griffin Ness, then, as much as I like UC Irvine's pitching, can't bet against this guy. Griffin Ness he's unbelievable. I mean, his 3.7 ERA, it's been a little bit inflated by a couple bad starts, but this dude's extremely talented, and I just feel like UC Irvine's had a disappointing year, and Cal Poly's interesting, and that Big West race, it seems like it's UC Santa Barbara's to lose right now, but Cal Poly still is an interesting team. I feel like minus 145 with Griffin Ness is appealing. And then, last but not least, perhaps taking a look here, Cal might be interesting at minus 166, but, I'm not in love with that one. I haven't checked on the pitching matchup there if it's Renfroe and Oliver De La Torre, but Cal's actually looked really good. They've had some moments recently, so perhaps that one to take a closer peek on. But it's been a short show. Had to do it solo today. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Back next week with a regular show, and hopefully a little bit better of a slate and a little bit deeper. So appreciate it, everybody. Have a great rest of your evening, and we will see you back here next week.